What's up, everybody? It's your boy Devon Taylor here, aka Deezus, and this is my podcast, Deezus Take the Reel. You're in my world now, motherfuckers. This is not a religious podcast. Unless movies are your religion, then in that case, consider me your Lord and Savior. I am joined here today by a special guest. It is Andrew of Flick Freaks.
Ahoy! How are you all doing?
So with your Twitter, because I noticed that you are Flick Freaks on your Twitter,
Yeah.
but then like Flick Freaks is for like your kind of collective, right? Because there's
Yeah.
you
Actually,
and your
I'm
friends.
not even the one that runs our Twitter page. So
Really?
yeah, we have somebody in Chicago that runs our Twitter page. So
Oh, see,
Half-
I thought
half
I
of-
was following you this whole time.
honest, I post half of the time on there. Like if I ever if I get a really cool tweet, then I'll be the one. But if all that movie news, like all the upcoming films
Yeah.
and stuff, that's not me.
Oh, okay. Didn't even know that.
I know.
Man, you are like real legit then.
I fake being. real
I've always
legit.
given you credit. I was like, whenever you guys are kind of once I did the podcast with you and with Aaron
Yeah.
over on
Sith
Sith Pop, I was like, man, I kind of need to step my game up a little bit. So like encourage me to get more legit. I think I'm taking steps in that direction.
My fake credentials have, bestowed upon you the passion to do bigger and better things. So
Yeah, no, that's always the goal. But yeah, so this is episode 3 of the podcast, and right off the gate, I want to give a shout out to my boy Jonathan Youngblood. He left me such a gracious iTunes review, and I want to share that. I'm going to do that every time I get a 5-star review. I will go ahead and give you guys a shout out and read them out loud. So thank you, Jonathan Youngblood. Devon, or Deezus as us mere mortals know him, is an absolutely brilliant movie critic and commentator. His knowledge is wide and his sense of humor is completely infectious. His perspective is off the wall and out of the mainstream, separating him from the countless other movie podcasts on the market. Check him out if you love YouTube or podcast movie buffs. He'll be a force to be reckoned with in coming years. Hail Deezus. Thank you so much, Jonathan. That was
boom.
a
Look at
very
that.
nice review. Made my day the other day. He is a one of my internet friends. We converse regularly on Twitter and Facebook of other movie and nerdliness. And but yeah, no, I really appreciate the iTunes review. So keep those up. If you are listening to the podcast, give me a shout out. Leave me a 5-star review on iTunes, and I will return the favor on Twitter and on the next episode. So, to get into the introductory segment, because, Andrew, I've only known you for a brief time. We've worked together on a couple podcast episodes, but I know about 2 things about you. I know movies, and I know you like the Saints. Speaking of which, man, our teams are struggling right now.
That's not been a good year. Actually, it hasn't been a good couple years for me. So.
Yeah, the Saints are struggling a little bit right now, but my Eagles are also struggling.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to the introductory segment. So it is, who the hell are you? It's giving the people just a couple sentences about you on who you are about movies, but then outside of movies and such.
Right on. Well, my name is Andrew. I am one of the hosts on the YouTube channel Flick Freaks. We just, I think we're at 31,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah,
And,
man, that is awesome. I was going to congratulate you on that. I don't remember if I had seen you since then, but yeah, that is awesome.
It's been a craziness and it's been like a little over a year and a half that all this has happened, so it's crazy what's been going on. But yeah, like you said, super passionate about movies. I work with Aaron Dicer he works at KY3, the radio station here in Springfield, as the film critic, and I work with him to go and review films over there, so we get to see movies for free. We're up to 97 this year, and we also get to see early screeners of movies. We just got a truckload of screeners for movies that aren't even in theaters yet. So, and we're also passionate about video games. Every single day of the week we have a Let's Play coming out on our YouTube channel, and yeah, we just love talking about the entertainment world.
Yeah, you guys put out a lot of videos. I remember
2 to 3 a day
you on that. Like, they come out like rapid fire. Every time I check my subscription, there's like either a new reaction, a new Let's Play video. And then the reviews and Sith Pop reviews are also going to be on Flick Freaks.
Yeah.
Now, correct. Yeah, no, that is awesome. So speaking of which, with your YouTube, your channel is growing, but I also I don't think I've ever asked how'd you get started in.
Well, we initially had just a podcast on a totally separate YouTube channel, and that was called See It. But then Comcast bought the rights to the title See It, and that was fine. We'd been going for about a year, and we only had like 5 subscribers. And then I realized if I wanted to grow my audience more on YouTube, I had to commit to a stricter schedule. As a way of saying, if you commit to watching me, I'll commit to delivering content on a regular basis. And then that devolved somehow into me doing 2 to 3 videos a day, and the audience seems to enjoy it. I am not gonna lie, I think 99% of my subscribers are there because of the mustache that I have. Because it seems like
quite impressive.
It's
quite impressive.
Every single comment I get is
cool. Did you see a
cool
spike
mustache
in your subscribers?
Yeah, whenever I shaved the beard off and I had just the mustache, and the subscribers started coming in. So I'm like, well, I guess that this is the it's not the control, it's the I forget my science-y talk. So, but that's exactly what's been going on, and just.
For word of mouth, you have to have like that identifier. So like whenever you're brought up in casual conversation, you're just like, they're like, who's Flick Freaks? And you're like, the guy with the mustache.
That's exactly right.
He's got the mustache, and then they're like, oh, okay.
And that's another thing. YouTube is such a massive thing, and there are so many people trying to do something. You have to find something within yourself. Not only, your views on things, but a physical aspect that people can identify you as. Like, look at Markiplier. The guy changes his hair color every single day.
Yeah.
Or you have, PewDiePie has the intriguing Swedish accent. So
it's about, you have to have a brand, you have to know how to market yourself, how to be able, set yoururself apart, and, that's just kind of how the internet works, and that's the way you got to grow it, and you got to embrace yourself as your brand.
That's exactly right.
So, yeah. And so what's your end goal? Like, what are you working towards? Like, I know me, I just want to be able to have some kind of job to where I can talk about movies and get paid for it. However that happens would be awesome. So, like, what's your end goal?
Initially, what I started to do this for is I was a huge fan of the internet phenomenon Rooster Teeth, and I thought to myself, man, if I could just, build up like a resume of, things that I've done on the internet, maybe one day I could work at Rooster Teeth. And that would still be cool, but at the same time, it just got to the point now where I have a really awesome fan base, and I don't want to, abandon them to do anything else because they're just so cool. So I would just like to, I'm making money off of YouTube, and I would like to continue just to do that. But if Rooster Teeth ever knocked on my door and asked if I wanted to work for them, then I would probably do it still.
Gotcha. That's kind of me similarly with, if as soon as me and Tyler move out to LA, I plan on trying to intern with either, like a SourceFed or a Screen Junkies.
Yeah.
I've already auditioned for Screen Junkies once. So that's always a nice goal. So, but yeah, at the same time, I just want to be able to grow as a podcaster, entertainer, YouTuber.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling actually a lot more confident with the podcasting. I feel like I kind of rushed my YouTube, and then my YouTube, I kind of caught up with it, But with this, I kind of took my time a little bit more with the podcast, and really put some work into it, and found a nice little groove, because my first few YouTube channel videos, a little bit rough. They're pretty clunky until I started figuring out my editing style and whatnot.
Yeah.
But with podcasting, I feel like it's feels a little bit more natural. So
yeah.
I'm really excited to get into our topic today, which will be revolutions in film.
Yes.
But before we get into that topic real quick, because Andrew, you just did a screener marathon over the past few days, and so our top 3 of the year are probably vastly different right now, because you've seen more films than I have, but I still want to just give a quick run through on our top 3s of the year so far.
Right on. You want me to start?
Yeah, you go ahead and go first.
Right,
you have yours out already.
I'll start with number 3, and that's going to be the new Denzel Washington, Viola Davis film, Fences. Initially, I saw the original Broadway, not live, obviously, but with James Earl Jones that came out back in '87. I saw the recording of that.
Oh man, so good.
And I thought to myself, nobody is ever going to come close to the performance that James Earl Jones gave. But damn it, if Denzel Washington doesn't give it his all and makes me question saying that nobody would do what James Earl Jones does. Now, Viola Davis, there's no question in my mind that she's going to win for Best Supporting Actress.
She's going to win. Not even just nominated. She's going to win.
She's going to win. She's going to sweep in every category. And honestly, after seeing this and Manchester by the Sea, which is the only other contender that Denzel Washington would have in Casey Affleck for his performance.
I don't get to see that till next week. I'm real excited though.
That one's also really, really good. But it's between Casey Affleck and Denzel Washington for best performance of the year.
Okay. I guess I'll go with my number 3, Captain Fantastic.
That's number 4 for me.
That's number 4. Captain
4.
Fantastic literally came out of nowhere. I remember it was a week where I had seen everything that was already in the theaters that I had wanted to see. You know, I usually don't go out of my way to see the bad movies.
Yeah.
Even if that's all that's left. I'll usually just skip them. But then Captain Fantastic, I didn't really know much about it. And I just, wasn't really looking forward to it. But I was like, this looks all right. I'll go see it. And wow.
Yeah.
I was floored by that film. Viggo Mortensen, I don't think he's going to be nominated, but it would make me happy if he did.
For the Critics' Choice Awards, which we know somebody who votes in that, he's nominated for Best Comedy Actor, which doesn't make sense.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I mean, the movie is very funny, but it's not a comedy, though. I guess it's a case of The Martian.
Yeah, it's a case of The Martian where they wanted to nominate, but they couldn't find a category because all the others were already filled with great performances. So they're like, well, we're at least going to nominate him for something. So they threw him in a comedy section. And something else that you're going to love, we got the screener for Captain Fantastic, obviously. And along with the screener, they sent us their banner that they had, the Power to the People, Stick It to the Man. We got a full-sized flag of it.
Oh, that's awesome.
We got a movie poster, and we always get some cool stuff with that. Like, we just got a signed autograph letter from Tom Ford, the director.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
That was pretty cool. But,
literally a fantastic film. Like, it really is.
Absolutely.
All puns intended.
Yeah.
So, what's your number 2?
Number 2 is La La Land. Got the screener for that. And here's the thing. You've seen the movie Whiplash that Damien Chazelle
Yes, I loved Whiplash.
So
that was my number 1 of 2014.
Same as me, and it's actually my number 9 film of all time. It's really incredible. And going into La La Land, I thought I had an understanding of what Damien Chazelle's directing style was going to be. Not just dark, but I had a feeling that it was going to be music-based. And maybe some things would change here and there, but
I mean, it's a full-on musical, right?
It's a full-on musical, and the directing style is totally different, like 100% different than what he did for Whiplash. Like, not to give a spoiler away, but the first part of the movie is a song to get you started off, and it's all one shot. And that's what this movie is. It's long shots. It's really Alfonso Cuarón kind of style, and it's beautiful. Man, this movie is beautiful. Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, they're like a power couple whenever it comes to like having performances.
Their on-screen chemistry together is just like through the roof.
It's insane. And I thought that, man, Crazy Stupid Love, that's my favorite performance of theirs together. And I thought, man, that's like a perfect on-screen couple. And then this just takes it up to 11. The music in this movie is brilliant. The choreography feels so much like an old-time Gene Kelly Singing in the Rain sort of a film.
I'm so excited.
There are parts of this movie where you forget that it takes place in modern times just because of the directing style, the mannerisms and stuff.
He said that, I remember in an interview, Chazelle said he wanted it to feel timeless.
Yeah, it absolutely does. It's a movie that is not to be forgotten, and this is going to be the movie, even though it's not my number 1, it is going to be the movie that sweeps every single award besides like best performances.
Man, this has been my most anticipated of the year, and it's kind of it sucks in modern day. You can't really escape things with movies. Something you end up getting spoiled, or you see something, or it's just you get your expectations really high. I call it the hype monster, and it's bitten me a lot this year. Like a lot of films that I get really high expectations. One of them was Midnight Special. I remember I was a little bit let down by that one.
I love Midnight Special, though.
The first time I saw Moonlight, I was a little bit let down, but then I just went and saw it a second time, and, with the neutral expectations, enjoyed it way more the second time.
I might have to rewatch it because I was mediocre on Moonlight.
So it's I've been trying to keep my expectations for La La Land as neutral as possible.
Good call.
But Ryan Gosling is my favorite working actor today, and I'm just super excited for it.
Oh, he does not disappoint for sure.
I'm so excited.
What do you have as your number 2?
My number 2 is a lot higher than a lot of other people have it, and it's not necessarily the second best thing this year, but it's a combination of how good it was, but then also the experience of it. Is Don't Breathe. This has been such a good year for horror, probably the best year for horror that there's been in the past decade at least.
Yeah.
We've had so many strong horror movies. Just in my top 10, I have 3 horror movies in there just because it's been such a strong year for it. And Don't Breathe is it's a combination, like I said, it's such a tight script, but then the acting along with it and the cinematography and the twists of it. I mean, and just the reason that you go to the theaters, you have a reaction with people. I mean, it was a packed theater. I saw it the night of. And everybody is audibly gasping together, as a collective. And the film I've had the biggest emotional response to while watching it.
Yeah.
Last year it was Room, and that's what shot that to number 1 for best of the year for 2015 with me.
When I realized what was actually going on in Room, I was like, oh my God, they're actually doing this.
Oh man, Room, I cried so uncontrollably afterwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's those emotional responses that you have to a film. That's why I love seeing films in theater, the experience of it. So
yeah, Don't Breathe is actually my second highest rated horror film of the year. And initially it was in my top 10, but some others pushed it back a little. It's number 22 now.
It's been such a strong year for horror, though. I absolutely love horror, and it's been such a good year. So enjoyable.
Where do you have Green Room? That's my number 1 horror film.
See, Green Room was a hype monster.
Really?
Bite for me. I did not. It was fine, but it wasn't as visceral as people made it out to be.
It's one of the very few.
Intense.
It's one of the very few films I didn't know much about going into. So I guess that's why I didn't hear anything about it going into it.
Yeah, I knew a lot going into it. I'm a big Anton Yelchin fan.
Yeah.
Taken way too early. Man, that kid's a good actor.
That's
so it's
sad.
I was already super excited just with him in it, Patrick Stewart. I knew a lot about that film, but it didn't do it for me. But I haven't watched it since. So the second watch, maybe I might enjoy it a little bit more without the expectations. So what's your number 1?
Number 1 would be Denis Villeneuve's newest film, Arrival.
Yeah, that's my number 4. We got to nerd out about this on the last time I was on Sif Pop.
Absolutely.
Such a fantastic movie.
It was my number 1 most anticipated film of the year. And the fact that it is now my number 1 film of the year is like icing on the cake, because he is probably, not to be hyperbolic, besides Damien Chazelle, he's my favorite working director in Hollywood right now.
No, he's hot.
Prisoners was so great. Sicario was phenomenal. Enemy was brilliant.
Enemy's my favorite of his.
Still Prisoners for me, and then Arrival. But man, this is actually the only film this year that's cracked my top 100 films of all time. La La Land didn't. Fences didn't.
Ooh.
So, yeah,
it's a phenomenal film. I was excited for it, but it wasn't even in my top 20 most anticipated because I didn't really like Sicario that much.
Really?
Yeah, Sicario just didn't do it for me. So whenever it was coming up, I was still just kind of because Enemy and Prisoners are so much better.
Sure.
At least in my opinion than Sicario.
Yeah,
then Arrival easily took my top spot for Villeneuve. It's very emotionally tender but very rich, and the way that it comes full circle And like I said,
that ending is beyond insane.
The third act of that movie is perfect. Like, it's as soon as everything started clicking for me, like the grin that I had on my face while watching it all unfold, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this is happening in a sci-fi film as well, you know?
It's one of the very few films I have ever immediately bought a second viewing ticket just so I could rewatch the film and having all the knowledge now after seeing it once. I wanted to go back and watch it again, knowing everything.
I still need to see it a second time.
It's better the second time once you know it, because you notice more things, because this is actually, for the Critics' Choice Awards, the second most nominated film besides La La Land.
Man. And it just passed 100 mil at the box office too, at the domestic box office.
It makes me so happy whenever I see a sci-fi film too, as well as
an original too. At that.
Well, it's based on a short story.
Oh,
but,
it is.
Yeah,
but still,
yeah, exactly. This, again, not hyperbolic. Besides Star Wars, this is my favorite alien-based film ever.
I'd say it probably is my favorite. Just the way that they went about it,
so smart.
Showing it's commentary on America now, like, America automatically assuming that it's a threat. Spoiler alert for Arrival. Sorry.
It deals with aliens in America.
But the fact that they're not the villains of the film, it's America, it's humanity ourselves.
That's the villain.
And and they're the good guys, like they're helping us out. So I thought that was such a refreshing take on the alien genre. Something that we don't really get a whole lot of.
No.
So, and then my number one is Sing Street. This little gem, if you have not seen it yet, it's on Netflix. You have no excuse not to watch this film. It is.
Well, I know what I'm rewatching later on.
My goodness. I love that film so much. Like, I went in, I was a big fan of Begin Again, but I haven't seen Carney's other films. He has another film called Once that's also like a music-centric film.
Okay.
But I loved Begin Again, so I was like, all right, this could be good. And oh my goodness, it blew me away. The soundtrack, the simple, just the coming of age story, everything just blended so well. The Drive It Like You Stole It sequence.
That is my number one song of the year. Drive It Like You Stole It.
It's not my favorite song in the movie, but the sequence itself, like the whole thing, it felt very kind of like that Back to the Future. Scene.
Yeah,
that's kind of what it felt like, and it was super cool. Sing Street, it's the very definition of a feel good movie.
Yeah,
like I left the theater in such a good mood. I was like singing and dancing in the car, and like, oh my goodness, I was on cloud 9.
Yeah,
this was whenever I was still reviewing on Periscope. And I was driving around periscoping for like 25 minutes after this film.
Drive it like you
oh man, it's just such a fun film to watch. Watch it with friends, watch it by yourself. And it's such a good story. I absolutely loved it. Where do you have Sing Street sitting at?
Number 5.
Number 5.
Whew. Yeah, honestly, I didn't know what to expect going in. And it's like you said, the story is so simple. Guy or kid falls in love with a girl, wants to impress her, starts a band with his friends. That's it.
That's it.
And it's brilliant.
Oh man, the relationship between him and his brother is fantastic.
His brother's the best part of that entire movie.
He's not the best part of the movie for me.
Well, performance-wise, I mean.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, for sure. Like he does have most of the emotional scenes, but
the best part of the movie is the music.
The coming of age story and the music, just everything about it works so well.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. But yeah, that is our top 3 of 2016 right now. I'm sure we will talk a little bit more. I was going to ask you, because me and Tyler were going to be live broadcasting, doing a commentary of the Oscars. But before that, I wanted to do a podcast, an Oscar special. And I was going to have you guest on it with me, you and Tyler, do like a pre-Oscars after the nominations are released. Yeah. Yeah, after the nominations are released.
I'm on board.
Oh, heck yeah. Because that's going to be a good time. Like, me and Tyler, we get real serious around the Oscar time. We make brackets and
that's exactly what we do, too. So, yeah.
It's going to be a tight one this year. I've still yet to see, the bulk of the main Oscar contenders.
Yeah.
Starting to catch up, though.
There's 2 more films I need to see that they've told us we're not going to be getting screeners for, or 3 films that we're not going to get screeners for. Silence, the new Scorsese film. Obviously, we're not going to get one for Rogue One.
No.
And Passengers, the Chris Pratt, Jennifer Lawrence.
I don't think Passengers could be very good.
People are saying that it's going to be an awards contender. Like people who have seen screeners of it.
I really don't like the trailer for it. I feel like I've watched the film already.
Oh, okay.
And then I feel like they're very confused on how to market this film. Like their last trailer was a music video for like they just like played an Imagine Dragons song over it.
I haven't seen
that one. And it
was
just it's super weird. I don't know. I'm getting weird vibes from this film.
Yeah.
I feel like the only thing they're riding on is Chris Pratt and J-Law. So they're just like, here's their faces. They're in this movie. Go see this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what the marketing has done for me. So, but yeah, I'm really looking forward. And they just announced Jimmy Kimmel will be the host this year of the Oscars.
Oh, he always does a good job. I'm stoked for that.
I was hoping for Jimmy Fallon, the other Jimmy. Mm-hmm. I would have preferred him, or
Ellen again.
Ellen would have been good again. I wanted them to try a duo again, and I would have liked Key and Peele.
Oh my God, that would have been phenomenal.
Wouldn't that be just, oh man, I feel like they would crush it, because that's the problem with when they do duos, they get duos that don't have chemistry together.
Yeah.
You know, Anne Hathaway and James Franco were like two cardboard boxes rubbing up against each other, and I love James Franco, but that was all kinds of bad.
And Key and Peele, that would be so good.
Oh man, I
feel
like
the Tina Fey and Amy Poehler's are always brilliant.
Yeah.
But man, I would totally be on board for
it.
Key
Would
and
be
Peele.
So different. I loved it. Or I would have loved it, but
yeah,
you know, I think Jimmy Kimmel will do a fine job.
Chris Rock and Louis C.K.
Oh man, that would be, or Louis C.K. by himself. I would take Louis C.K. by himself as well. All right, so I've managed to get us sidetracked with the Oscars. Like I said, I get very excited about these things. So we are going to go ahead and get into the topic of today. So whenever I asked Andrew about coming on the show, this was right around after the election. So for relevancy of the time that we're in right now, we went with revolutions in film. So Andrew, tell us about the film that you chose to talk about today.
The film that I chose for my main topic for today is going to be the 2005 phenomenon V for Vendetta. Hugo Weaving and Natalie Portman were beyond brilliant in this, and the main thing that I took away from this movie is the story, the idea of not settling for what a government tells you to do. If you know that a government has become too powerful, then you need to put it in check. My favorite line in the entire movie is, people should not be afraid of their government. Government should be afraid of the people. And it's so true. And honestly, the main reason I chose this movie is because the 5th of November wasn't too far off from whenever the election was going to be.
Yeah.
And either way, I knew half of the country was going to be pissed with the result. And not saying that one politician would have been better than the other one, but I had an idea that one of them would have been a little bit better.
Let's just say I feel like politics aside, I think there's just one human being that I'd rather have over a Cheeto.
Yeah, Cheeto monster.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. You know, I knew it was going to be a train wreck regardless of what happened.
Yeah.
Like you said. But now it's a scary time right now. And same with in V for Vendetta. It's I hadn't seen this movie in a while, and I remember I wasn't too huge on it.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I rewatched it today, I did like it a little bit more than I remember. I'm not in love with it like a lot of other people were, but the relevance of it though today of going up against some sort of tyrannical leader, fascist government, and like you said, that is a really good line in the film. The people should not be afraid of the government, and I feel like that's kind of ties in really brilliantly with what's going on right now. You know, coming from myself, you know, a person of color, like, does it kind of scare me that we have Donald Trump as a president? Yeah, a little bit. And, you know, and that, so as soon as I heard that line, whenever I was watching that, I was like, oh man, I was like, could not pick a more relevant movie to talk about.
And that's what I was thinking, like, as the election was going on, and I was like thinking to myself, oh, this is a nightmare. And then I realized, I'm a straight white man. It's not going to affect me as much as it's going to affect other people that turn out of this election. The LGBT community is probably going to be in a lot of trouble. If you're not white, you might be in a little bit of trouble.
I mean, hell, even if you're white and poor, you're still.
Well, I fall in that category for sure, but
it's like you gotta be white and have money. He hates broke people just as much as he hates anybody else.
That's true. So he'll find a way to hate me some way.
Yeah, but V for Vendetta though, and the other thing that stood out to me is, one, that is a very good Natalie Portman performance. I haven't been very big on her besides Black Swan. But she was very good in this one, especially the scene after.
Till you see Jackie.
Oh yeah. And then Hugo Weaving too. I totally didn't even realize whenever I picked The Matrix that our topic of the day could have been Wachowski
or Hugo Weaving. Yeah, exactly.
Because I had people guess what the topic was going to be, and they like guessed everything else before they guessed Revolutions, and then and then everybody was like, "Oh, well, yeah, I guess that makes sense too."
I think I think Lily and her brother should stick to writing, because besides The Matrix, their movies that they've directed have not been good.
Yeah, Jupiter Ascending is it's rough.
Cloud Atlas.
I didn't see Cloud Atlas. I remember Tyler said
Speed Racer.
I think Tyler likes it. Oh wait, no, I love Speed Racer.
Do you like Speed Racer? Okay.
I love Speed Racer.
I was not a fan of Speed Racer. But
oh
hey,
man,
to each their own, I guess.
That Speed Racer movie is everything I wanted a Speed Racer movie to be. It's fantastic.
Retracted.
But yeah, rewatching it though, I definitely enjoyed it a little bit more. The only problems I have is one, I was still a little bit bored. It runs a little bit long for me.
Okay.
I don't mind watching long movies as long as it's as long as it needs to be.
2 hours and 12 minutes is
and that's
the
not
runtime.
and that's not even super long, but feels longer. So I don't know. I felt like there was a little bit of filler that could have been taken out in there. But Hugo Weaving and Natalie Portman alone make the movie entertaining enough. And what's the guy that plays the voice of London?
John Hurt?
Yeah, John Hurt.
Are you talking about like the president or like the guy on TV?
The guy on TV.
Oh,
he was called the voice of London because he kind of plays the same character in every movie.
He does.
And he just yells like that, and it's fantastic.
Man, that's gonna drive me crazy now. Is it John Standing?
I don't know. I don't have the Googles up.
No, the former United States. Yeah, England prevails.
Yeah, England prevails. Yeah. What's the last movie he was in where he plays like almost the same thing?
Oh man. That's Roger Allam is who that is. Yeah, Roger Allam. Lately he was.
God, what was the last one he was in? Like I can picture it in my mind. It's just him yelling
Mr.
more.
Holmes, The Tempest, The Book Thief.
No.
Politician's Husband, Woman in Black.
No.
He was in Game of Thrones.
I don't know.
Iron Lady. He's in a couple of the Pirates of the Caribbean films. Was he in Les Mis?
It's none of those. Man, what am I picturing in my head? I don't even know right now.
He was in Speed Racer.
Oh, yeah. No, I was thinking Speed Racer.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, my God.
That's hilarious.
No, I was thinking of Speed Racer.
Was he like the announcer in that movie? I can't remember.
No, he was, he owned Royal Racing Industries, and they were trying to like buy Speed Racer to be his driver. He was like the crooked business guy.
That's hilarious.
And he just yells in that movie too. he like starts off all nice, but then he like kind of pulls like a Christoph Waltz, like he's like nice, but then he just yells at people. I love Speed Racer.
This is probably gonna start some controversy, but I honestly do believe this is Hugo Weaving's best performance ever.
Oh no, it is his best performance
ever.
And
you never see his face.
Have you seen Frank with Michael Fassbender?
Yeah.
Where he does a similar thing?
You think that's Fassbender's best performance?
No, I don't think it's his best performance.
It's like
but
that though.
I think of this one, and Hugo Weaving wasn't the original choice. They picked this other guy. I forget what his name was, but then the guy was complaining about filming in the mask the whole time. So they fired him and brought Hugo Weaving in.
I guess he's not an idiot because
he'd already filmed for 6 weeks too.
What? Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to look that up in trivia.
And then they re-recorded everything with Hugo Weaving because the Wachowskis recommended him.
They certainly did an amazing job picking Hugo because I can't imagine anybody else besides him doing it.
Hugo Weaving is super underrated. And you really see his theater side in V for Vendetta. The way he speaks in the film is so alluring, and like to be able to show who his character is all through his voice and body movements is just super fascinating. And you can really hear his classical theater training. And then Hugo Weaving showing up in Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah.
He was probably my favorite, aside from Andrew Garfield, my favorite performance in that film. Like, I was like, oh my goodness.
I think he was better than Garfield in that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I think if Hugo Weaving was in the film just like one or two more scenes, he'd probably get nominated. I think he's just might not have enough screen time. But he was absolutely fantastic in Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, but V for Vendetta, great movie. It's still, I'm still not in love with it, but I can respect it. I can respect the Wachowskis when they were doing good work. And apparently it's rumored that they were kind of shadow directing as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
maybe the choreography and stuff, because if there's one thing the Wachowskis know, it's combat choreography. And, which brings to my pick is The Matrix. And I was watching this movie last night. Good call.
I totally forgot how fucking amazing that film is. Like, oh my God, there are so many iconic shots, all the ideas that have still been carried on in film and pop culture. I remember I was like getting flooded with memories I forgot I had as a kid, where like I wanted to have like the longest black jacket possible.
Oh yeah,
I wore sunglasses everywhere
inside.
Oh my goodness, like The Matrix is the shit. I love Keanu Reeves. He's one of my favorite people like on the planet.
Yeah.
And I totally forgot how good this movie is. And you want to know what I think part of the reason is?
What?
I think if they would have left it as a standalone movie, it would hold up a lot more and people would hold it to high regard. I think the sequels brought it down.
Yeah. Right now, The Matrix is number 31 on our greatest films of all time.
And rightfully so. And like I said, but I think the sequels kind of lose some of the ambiguity, some of the...
they tried to go way too philosophiul with it.
They went way too philosophical, and this is in the early runnings of the franchise. It's like nowadays this is a pretty normal thing. If The Matrix was made in 2016, they'd be planning 5 Matrixes right now, and a Matrix spin-off,
cinematic universe.
And a spin-off, and then a Matrix prequel. So
it's the way that the Wachowskis went about trying to tell that entire story. First, you had to watch the first movie. Then you had to watch Animatrix. Then you had to watch the second movie. Then
I like the second movie. A lot of people don't. It's just way different than the first one.
They gradually got worse for me.
Oh, the third one I think is complete shit.
Yeah.
But anyways, go ahead.
So after you watch the second movie, then you have to play the Matrix game on the PlayStation 2. Then you have to watch the final movie. And that's how you get the entire story. And it's...
Yeah, and
not a way to do.
I haven't played the game, and I only watched the Animatrix once, so now I'm wondering how much I'm missing.
I never watched Animatrix, but I played the game. So,
yeah, no, I think that it's kind of like almost like a Hobbit situation, like trying to take a material and stretch it out too thin.
Yeah, except because this is still better than the Hobbit.
Because there was, promise, and you could expand on that world. But yeah, the way that they did it, the exponential way that they did it, the third one was just a very underwhelming conclusion. I like the second one, but it doesn't feel related to the first one.
Well, honestly, the highway scene might be one of the best scenes in the Matrix franchise.
That scene is so cool. But oh my God! But rewatching the Matrix last night though, like I said, I just forgot how really awesome it was. The first fight between Morpheus and Neo, and then the fight scene between Smith and Neo
in the subway.
Yeah, in the subway.
This might be I can think of
it might be one of the best fight scenes of
ever.
all time.
Yeah, besides I can think of a few movies where a fight scene is better, but no, it's like the best modern fight scene.
No, it really is. And you see the influence that it, like I said, through film, through pop culture, because when you think of the fight scene in the hallway in Inception, first thing you think of is The Matrix.
That's exactly right.
And anytime you see that type of otherworldly type of fighting, and the way that they choreographed it to make it look real, I mean, for 1999, the effects were really solid in the film too. Those held up. and probably Keanu, because Keanu Reeves isn't known for being a great actor per se.
Yeah.
You know, he's not. Keanu Reeves does his thing, and I love him for it. But I'd say The Matrix might be his best acted film.
Yeah. Either that or John Wick. Probably The Matrix.
Or The Devil's Advocate.
Or Bill and Ted.
But like Keanu Reeves actually acted really well in The Matrix. This was a character he really was passionate about, and that's why it's shown through in John Wick also, because he loves that character. Man, I can't wait for John Wick 2.
It looks really good.
Oh my gosh.
He's fighting Common.
It's going to be so good.
Yeah. We on Sif Pop not too long ago, we did a ranking of the top films that changed visually the way films were made. And I think we came to the conclusion that The Matrix is number 2 behind Star Wars.
Yeah, like The Matrix, it's something.
Then you have films like Jurassic Park and Avatar that also changed.
Yeah.
But you don't, maybe Avatar, but really you think of Star Wars and The Matrix as the films that changed everything.
Because The Matrix was kind of like that transition. It was blending of the practical effects and all the practical stunt work with the CGI and kind of blending the two together.
Exactly.
And not being reliant on one or the other. They really did balance it out really well.
And maybe that's why I wasn't a fan of the second movie, is because they changed too much CGI. That horrible fight between Neo and all the Smiths, which had the potential to be so good, but the graphics and the CGI was so bad it takes me out of it every single time.
It does, but at the same time, I love that they did it though.
Yeah,
because I love ambition, whether it works out or not in film. And my thing is with a lot of sci-fi, it's either they have a problem with being in this middle ground. Sci-fi, for me, works best if either A, it's very subtle sci-fi, you know, like, oh, this is in the not so distant future, subtle sci-fi, or you got to just go full weird. Matrix 2, it went full weird a couple times, and it was great.
You've probably heard this theory before, but after I heard the theory, I rewatched The Matrix, and it actually makes the movies a little bit more entertaining.
That Mr. Smith is the one?
That Agent Smith is the one.
Or Mr. Smith.
Mr.
That's
Anderson.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah. No, yeah, the Agent Smith is actually the one, and it's not Neo.
No, the theory checks out. It makes sense.
It makes sense, and actually, I think it makes the movies just a little bit more fun.
No, I think it does too. I agree 100%. And I think Agent Smith is one of the most underrated villains of all time.
Oh, he is definitely up there.
He is a fantastic villain.
He's top 10 villains for sure.
The way he speaks, you know, from Hugo Weaving
that
again.
Condescending.
Oh my goodness. And the look underneath the brow, like, there's just something, just the presence he brings. He's in just a classic black suit and it looks cool as shit.
Yeah. That speech he gives to Morpheus about the virus, humans being a virus, and that they're the cure.
And think of how many times that's been copied since then.
Yeah.
But no, it works in it though, like, because it's gotten to that point, like, that's a cliche I hate hearing. Oh, humans are a virus on the cure. No, it works in this film.
That's exactly right. It's so good. I want to rewatch those movies again. I'm gonna go buy them on Blu-ray. I'm gonna buy the pack,
because that's a cool thing I've been doing with this podcast is like it gives me reasons to like revisit certain movies I haven't in a while, or like for the episode I did last week, I had to watch Memento for the first time, which was exciting because Memento had been one of my movie blind spots, and it finally gave me a reason to watch it.
Well,
so I was super excited for that. So rewatching The Matrix and V for Vendetta, revisiting those were super cool.
Oh man, I can't wait to listen to your Memento episode now.
It's a good one. It's episode 2. We talk Memento and Fight Club. We talk about storytelling in cinema, movies that change storytelling.
Okay. Yeah.
So to go ahead and take us out of the show, our last segment is story time, which I still have not come up with a better name for. It's gonna come at some point. Like it bothers me. I just put in parentheses Rebel Times because that's the theme of the stories today. We were talking about Revolution in theaters, and so I had asked Andrew to have a story about a time that you were rebellious. Would you like to go first, or you want me to go first?
I'll let you go first. I'm curious.
Okay, so I picked a fairly simple story because my life, I've always been told I'm doing air quotes right now, I have a problem with authority, whatever that means. So I guess you could say my whole life has been pretty rebellious. I don't think I have a problem with authority. I think I just like to challenge it.
There you go.
Maybe.
And that's
which
healthy.
Makes it sound more fun. Yeah, a little bit more healthy. But yeah, I've always been, but there was a time, see, everybody loves high school, and high school for me was fine. It was okay. Middle school, on the other hand.
It was the worst.
Oh, I ruled middle school.
Or I hate it. Was the worst.
I was on
years
top
of, my life.
of the world in middle school. So in 8th grade, I thought I was just the coolest motherfucker on the planet. Like, I literally would walk through the hallways and I would say, "I'm Devon Taylor. I'm awesome," like out loud.
Nice.
I'm not even kidding you. It was like a cartoon, but. So
did you refer to yourself in third person all the time?
Yes, I did.
Devon Taylor wants to go to lunch.
I did. Oh my gosh, I would put myself in the front of like every line just because. But what I was really known for in 8th grade, so I had a girlfriend, and we were like a power couple, like middle school power couple. Those were a thing. And one thing that we were known for, part of our rep, was me and her, we would pick a class and we would designate a time that we were going to get a hall pass, and we'd go to the library and we'd skip class and just make out in the library.
Good call.
And everybody's just like, "Oh my God, they were making out again today. They got caught by the librarian. It was crazy." 8th grade Devon, that was a special time. That was a special time. So I think that's the beginnings of my most rebelliousness to come.
All right, I guess I'm up then. So mine takes place in college. The first college I ever went to was College of the Ozarks. It's, I don't know how spread out your audience is, but it's a college in Missouri near Branson, and it's one of the strictest colleges in the nation, but it's also free.
Like what, curfews and stuff like that?
There's curfew. You can't have a car. You can't drink. You can't smoke.
What do you mean can't have a car?
They lock your car up so you can't leave campus.
Okay.
Yeah, until the weekends. So if you want to go visit your family on the weekends, you can.
Oh, well, thank goodness for that.
Yeah, exactly. It's you have to go to church twice a week. It's crazy, but it's free. That's why a lot of people choose to go to it. It's a work program. Like, they have restaurants and stuff on campus that people come and visit and stuff, and you just work, and it pays your tuition and everything. So I thought, I am poor as dicks. I will definitely go and check out a free college. There was a no drinking rule. Wasn't a fan of that. So my friends and I, one night, we got a friend of ours to go and buy some alcohol for us. This is back when I could drink. And I said, I'll be the DD for the night, because I've never been a real big fan of drinking. I'll just have a shot of vodka, and that'll be it. Just one shot and I'm done. And I did. But my other friends, since it was like a goody two-shoes kind of school, they'd never drank before, so they poured an
super lightweights.
Yeah, one guy poured an entire glass of vodka, just straight vodka, and he drank the whole thing. He's like, "Oh, this is terrible. Why do people drink?" He ended up getting alcohol poisoning, and none of us were from Branson, so we didn't know where anything was, except for one dude who those guys like, "Oh, I know everything." He was one of those guys.
I'll get you there.
Yeah, so I got in the car and I was driving, and because I really was sober. It was like an hour since my one shot of vodka. So we're driving, like, we got to get this guy to a hospital, because he's like turning red. He's vomiting everywhere, and it was bad. Oh, God. So we're driving around, and he's like, "Yeah, take a left here, take a left here." And we pull into what did look like a hospital. But it was actually the Branson police station.
Oh, no.
And so we're dragging him up to the opening doors, because it still looks like the lobby of a hospital. And we go inside, and there's a crap ton of cops looking at us. And we're all underage, and
kind of like the scene in a movie. You guys would just bust through a door. There'd be two of you guys and 12 cops, and they just all have a donut in their hand, and it
was the most cliche thing you can imagine. Yeah, so if you got caught drinking once, you got kicked out of school. That was the rule. Since I was technically sober, I didn't get kicked out, but my friends got kicked out, and I ended up leaving after that year and going to a real college.
That's crazy.
So that was my rebellion. I don't care what this college says. We're gonna go drink and we're gonna have a good time. Well, we didn't have a good time.
We went to like a Footloose college.
It was like
this was Footloose University.
You weren't allowed to dance or anything. Yeah, it was bad.
You Kevin Baconed it.
Yeah, I was the Kevin Bacon of Branson, Missouri.
You Kevin Baconed it. Fantastic. I love it.
And then I ran over a lady's Christmas tree that night because I felt like it.
Bonus points.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think all this rebellious talk will go ahead and take us out of the show. Thank you so much, Andrew Ormsby from Flick Freaks.
I had so much fun.
Oh,
so
yes.
much fun.
This was had a lot of good conversation. It's always fun talking movies with you. Where can the people find you? What are you working on right now?
Pretty much every single form of social media besides MySpace. If you just type in /Flick Freaks, you're most likely going to find us. Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I guess Vine's not a thing anymore, but we had a Vine.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Mainly, if you want to find us, the biggest thing we do is YouTube. So youtube.com/flickfreaks. Videos posted every single day. We break down trailers. We do Let's Plays in all your favorite games. We're doing a lot more horror games right now, and it's pretty fun.
And then you guys can find me on pretty much everything at Deezus12, except on Instagram, because some fuckface still won't give me my handle. There's a period in between the Deezus and the 12. They've only posted like 7 times. I've messaged them on Instagram. I've reported them. Like, I want this handle, and they won't give it to me.
That's how it was with my personal Twitter. Just Andrew Ormsby. Who'd have thought that the Andrew Ormsby, that's the weirdest last name on the planet, but the guy's been sitting on one post back in 2006. It's 10 years old. Give me my handle instead of the Andrew Ormsby.
Yeah. No, I'm still very butthurt about it, but you can find me on Twitter at Deezus12, on Facebook at Deezus12. Subscribe to the iTunes feed so that way you're getting all the podcast episodes. Share these with your friends, rate and review them on iTunes as well, and they will be on other platforms here pretty soon. But thank you once again, Andrew from Flick Freaks. Like I said, be looking forward. We will be doing a pre-Oscar nominations special podcast, so we will have Andrew on for that again. So that will go ahead and take us out of the show. Thank you once again, Andrew Ormsby, Flick Freaks. Yeah, that was a good episode.
So fun.
Had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Hopefully I didn't miss anything.
Oh, no, you're good.
Brilliant.
Went a little bit long, but that's okay. They're all going a little bit long, and I don't mind it at all. See you later, guys. Every Tuesday, Deezus Take the Reel. Peace out, motherfuckers.